From Jharkhand, within months, Birsa Munda was dead. The official cause of death was listed as cholera. In 1875, in the small village of Ulihatu, in the forested plateau of what is now Jharkhand, a Munda tribal boy was born named Birsa. His family was very poor. His father was a sharecropper for an outsider Zmindar, a non-tribal landlord who had been given Munda tribal land by the British government in violation of the Munda's own ancient land rights. The Munda people, who had farmed this land for at least 1,000 years, were now becoming labourers on their own ancestral soil. The British called this system progress. The Munda called it theft. Birsa grew up watching it happen. He watched his father work all year on land that had been his grandfather's. He watched the landlord's men come at harvest time to take most of the grain. When Birsa was about 10, his father, looking for any way out of poverty, sent him to a Christian missionary school in Chaibasa. The German Lutheran missionaries had been promising the tribal children education and food. Birsa attended the school for a few years. He learned to read and write, first in Hindi, then in English. He was the brightest student in his class. The missionaries were delighted. They thought they had found a future Munda Christian preacher. But Birsa began to notice something the missionaries did not know he was noticing. The missionaries, in their Sunday sermons, often spoke of how the British government would protect the tribal people from injustice. Birsa knew, from his father, that this was not true. The British government was the very source of the injustice. He listened. He memorized. He said nothing. At about 17, Birsa walked out of the missionary school. He did not graduate. He did not say goodbye. He walked back to the forest. He spent a few years studying with a traditional Munda priest in the village of Bandgav. He learned the old tribal songs. He learned the old stories of the Munda gods, Singbanga the sun, Hatubanga the village spirits, and the great old gods of the forest. He stopped wearing missionary clothes. He started wearing the simple white dhoti of his ancestors. He began to gather young tribal men around him. He began to speak. His voice, the British police later reported in their files, had a peculiar quality. People who heard him said they could not afterwards quite explain what he had said, only that they had wept while listening. Around the year 1894, Birsa was meditating alone in the forest near his village. He came back several days later, the legend says, with a new look in his eyes. He told his followers that he had seen Singbanga, the great sun god, the supreme deity of the Mundas. The god, Birsa said, had given him a mission. The mission was simple. The tribal people must rise. They must take back their land. They must drive out the zamindars. They must drive out the British. They must restore the old way, when the Munda people gunned their own forests and worshipped their own gods. Birsa said, I am sent to deliver you. Call me Birsa Bhagwan, if you must, but understand, the deliverance is not from me. It is from Singbanga. The tribal villages began to whisper his name. Many believed he was a true incarnation of the god. By 1899, Birsa had organized a movement that the British called the Ulgulan, the Great Tumult. He had thousands of followers. They began to attack Mindar property. They burned land deeds. They returned plots of soil to the families that had owned them generations earlier. They harassed the British police. They refused to pay rent to anyone who was not Munda. The British government took notice. They had not seen a tribal movement of this scale in decades. Troops were dispatched. Police garrisons in the Ranchi region were reinforced. Birsa was declared an outlaw. A reward was placed on his head. Birsa kept moving. He stayed in different villages each night, never sleeping twice in the same hut. He led the movement entirely from the forests. The British could not find him. In early 1900, the British finally caught him. He was betrayed. A Munda man, persuaded by the reward, 500 rupees, a fortune at the time, told the police where Birsa was hiding, in a small forest grove near Jamkopai. The police surrounded him while he slept. They took him alive. He had no chance to fight. He was 25 years old. They took him to Ranchi jail. They charged him with multiple counts of insurrection. He was put in a small cell. He told the British magistrate, when he was brought before him, only one thing. He said, "You can put a man in a cell. You cannot put a god in a cell." The magistrate ordered him kept in solitary. Within months, Birsa Munda was dead. The official cause of death was listed as cholera. The Munda people did not believe it. They believed he had been poisoned. The British, they said, had to remove him quietly. A public hanging would have made him too dangerous a martyr. So they removed him secretly. His body was given to his family. He was buried in his ancestral land near his birth village. The Ulgulan rebellion lost its leader and was put down within a year. But the British, in the same year, did something they had never done before. They passed an act, the Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act of 1908, that finally restored a measure of land rights to the tribal Mundas. They acted because Birsa had forced them to act. Even from a jail cell, he had won something. Birsa Munda is one of the few Indian leaders whose portrait hangs in the Central Hall of the Indian Parliament, in a corridor reserved for the most important figures in Indian freedom history. The state of Jharkhand was created in the year 2000, in part to give the Munda and other tribes the autonomy that Birsa had fought and died for. His birthday, November 15th, is observed across central India as Birsa Jayanti. Coins have been struck with his image. Schools, colleges, and the new airport at Ranchi are all named after him. And in every Munda village in Jharkhand, even now, you will find a small white shrine in the corner of the home, a square white altar, where a small image of a young man in a dhoti stands, no older than 25, holding a small bow, looking quietly out at the forest. He is Birsa Bhagwan, the tribal boy who, the Mundas believe, did not die. He simply went back, after his short visit, to the sun god who had sent him. And who, when the time comes, will send him again. Tomorrow's story comes from another corner of India. Subscribe to walk with us through the folklore of every region, in your language.